This might look like an extra from Doctor Who, but it is in fact the Princeton Tec Helix Backcountry Lantern. Let's have a closer look.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
So what is it and who's it for? Well, it's a lantern. That means it gives a diffused ambient light, the sort of light that would light up a space without being dazzling and being easy on the eye. And the obvious use is when camping, particularly in a tent to light up the space, but also perhaps on a table when you're socializing with friends at night, either camping or even perhaps at home in the garden. In addition to that, it could be a great emergency light for use at home. Imagine having a power cut. A flashlight with a beam is not going to be as practical as this for lighting a room. And then perhaps in a car. If you break down in a car at night, maybe you don't have any power in the battery, and this could illuminate the inside of a car so you can make phone calls and sort out a rescue. But also it has a red strobing light as part of the feature set here. If you've broken down at night and you haven't got any lights, you could set this up as a beacon to warn other motorists. So backpacking, camping, illuminating a tent, around the dinner table at night, outdoors, but then also as an emergency light, be it at home or perhaps on the road. The design on this is really clever in my view, and it's been very well thought through. So it looks quite large, but it folds down quite small. So you fold the legs in and then you push the top down, and then you've got a very compact shape, and it's reasonably lightweight as well. It weighs 155 grams and it's made out of what feels like a really high quality plastic. So it feels really solid in the hand. And what's really interesting about this is that it's manufactured in America, in New Jersey. So when we see so many things that are made in the Far East, it's a really pleasant surprise to see something that's made in America. So the diffuser pops up like that. It can sit on a flat or an uneven surface with these legs. And you'll notice these legs also have hooks on. This would allow it to be suspended from a line, for example, or you might just want to hook it in position. In addition to that, you get a wire handle on the top. So if you've got any form of hook, you can hang it from there or thread some cord or string through there. So a huge amount of flexibility in the way this can be positioned, either on a flat surface or hanging up. And then it also has another trick up its sleeve, because in addition to this ambient light, which can either be white or red, you also have the ability to unclip the diffuser, and now you've got a focused flashlight. And this would allow you to angle it and point it at the working area. The great thing about these legs are, if it's sat on a flat surface, you can choose the angle you want. You can alter the brightness of this light, and you can also make it flash. I'm not sure why you'd want a white flashing light necessarily, but in terms of the red, then I think that would be really useful. This could be a beacon to warn motorists that you might be broken down round a corner. So a really flexible option here. We've got the red light for emergencies, we've got the white light, we've got flashing, or we've got dimmable, and then we've got a beam like a more traditional flashlight, probably more for emergency use, I would suggest. And then you've got this diffuser creating a fantastic ambient light. And then if that wasn't enough, this diffuser here contains a glow-in-the-dark material. So once you switch the white light off, the diffuser continues to glow for quite some time. So let's have a look at the operation. It's pretty straightforward. The first thing to note is that there's no physical switches on here. What we have is a swipe area here. You swipe to the right and the white light comes on at full brightness. And if you want to dim it down, you just simply touch this and it slowly dims down, flashes to show it's at the bottom of the range, and then builds back up and flashes again. And then you swipe to turn it off. What you can do is swipe twice and it immediately drops to a kind of mid-level. So that's a convenient way of setting a nice light level. Also, if you swipe it 3 times, you then have a flashing light. and then you swipe again to turn it off. And then if you swipe from right to left, it brings on the red light and it comes on at full brightness. Swipe the other way and it turns it off. If you swipe twice, it goes to the mid setting for the red. And then if you swipe 3 times, you then get the flashing red light. Again with the red, if you swipe to switch it on and then press and hold, it goes to the dimmest setting. Then it comes back up again, flashes in between to show you've reached either the lowest or the highest settings. So you can set exactly the sort of light level you want. So if I wanted a very low level white light, I swipe once to the right, then just touch on there, wait for it to reach that point, and now I've got a very low level white light. Swipe to turn it off. So relatively straightforward. Sometimes I've found you've got to swipe a couple of times to get it to work, so there is a little bit of frustration factor with that, but that's probably because I've been constantly playing with it for a while. Generally in use, you just swipe it and it comes on, swipe it and it goes off. And the lack of a physical switch means no water can get in where a switch might be, and you've got the charging socket nicely sealed with a rubber cover. So in terms of waterproofing, it's an IPX6 rating, which means you can attack it with a high pressure hose. Torrential rain, it'll be fine, it's sat out in that, but you might have a problem if you dropped it into a lake. So in terms of overall light output, the maximum is 150 lumens. And then as far as duration goes, the red light lasts a little bit longer than the white light. So the white light on the highest setting will last 6 hours and 18 hours on the lowest setting. And the red light will last 7 hours at the highest setting and 22 hours at the low setting. In terms of charging, it has a rechargeable battery built in that is charged via this socket here. This is a micro USB socket. It charges in about 3 to 4 hours at 1 amp, which is quite a low rate of charge. And you could get that from almost any USB charger or power bank. This socket has a rubber cover to keep water and moisture out, which is nice to see. You can see what the charge rate is by removing the cover. And if we put it on charge, this is the cable that comes with it. We plug that into the base here. It's a shame it's not USB-C. And then you'll notice we've got some lights here. There are 3 green lights here. 2 are illuminated, which means it is 2/3 charged. So when it's fully charged, you'll see 3 green lights. In terms of price and warranty, the price in the UK is £69 and that includes tax. Warranty is 5 years. Price in the US is quite a bit cheaper because it's manufactured over there. I believe it's about $55 and that would be plus tax. As well as this backcountry model, there are a couple of other models from Princeton Tec of the Helix Lantern. One is called the Basecamp, which is much bigger. So if you want a bigger lamp, there is an option. And there is a version of this backcountry model which takes normal alkaline batteries instead of the rechargeable. So if that's your preference, there's an option for that as well. I thought it would be interesting to compare this with a product from Olight, which I've tested previously. This is the Olantern from Olight. Interestingly, both have a maximum output of 150 lumens, so it is a reasonable comparison. You can see the Olantern is a lot smaller than the Helix. But interestingly, the Olantern is a lot heavier because it's all metal. The weight on this is 237 grams, whereas this, which looks much bigger, is 155. And that's not necessarily a good thing, particularly if it's in your backpack. This I would take backpacking, this I wouldn't because it just feels a little bit too heavy. Both sit fine on a flat surface, but you can see the Helix can be a little bit higher, so you get more light reach when it's sat on a table. Both have a handle, so you can hang them up that way. But then it gets a bit more interesting because this easily hangs from a line and has effectively 4 hooks on the base, which gives you more options. And then you start getting some extra features like the fact that you can remove this and convert it into a more traditional flashlight. and the fact that you've got this flashing beacon which you can use in an emergency. And with this we get some improved waterproof protection. The Olight is IPX4, which is only a shower proof. The Princeton will last for 6 hours at the highest setting with the white light, whereas the Olantern will last for 4 hours at the highest setting with the white light. Although at the lowest light level, the Princeton will last for 18 hours, whereas the Olantern at the lowest light level will last for 24 hours. So they're fairly similar in terms of battery life, albeit at the highest white setting, which is the one you're more likely to use, I would say. The Princeton Tec does have a 50% longer battery life. The Olantern is a little bit cheaper. This is £59 in the UK. The Helix and the Olight are both very good lanterns. Obviously the Helix offers more functionality and the lighter weight really appeals as well. And if I had to choose between one or the other, I would probably go for the Helix now I've seen it in action. So in summary, I think this would work really well as an emergency light in the home, also in the car, and also for backpacking and camping. So all in all, a very flexible light. Thank you to the UK importer of Princeton Tec who sent me this sample for review. If you want to see some of my other flashlight reviews, then follow this link here. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.